going to, crap, I've lost my train of thought. Hi everybody. Sorry that my camera is not really cooperating with me right now and you can't really see me that good. I'm really tall, so it's a little difficult to get. I don't have a tripod, so please forgive me. I guess today we're going to kind of talk about, let me just kick my shoes off here. There we go. The history of my channel, and I guess kind of like where things are going, and a little bit about my story and how I got started on YouTube. So it's a couple of topics that we've got to like cover and touch base on. It's nothing major, it's just one of these videos that I've decided to make. You know, I'm coming up close to, I don't know exactly how old my channel is because my memory is a little funky sometimes, but I'm coming up on, I know, close to at least 20 years on YouTube, so I feel like that's a pretty big milestone. I know if not, I'm around the 15-year mark, so, and both are pretty impressive milestones. I used to do milestone videos back in the early days of my channel, and I kind of moved away from that because don't really hit a lot of major milestones because I'm not a very big and popular channel, which is okay. I figure that, you know, my channel will have its day eventually one day, and it'll someday take off maybe, but I don't know when and if that'll be, and it's okay if it doesn't. I just do this for fun and for a hobby. If I could, you know, become a monetized channel and make money off of videos and be able to provide better content from, you know, being able to make some profit off of my videos, that would be amazing, and that would be like a dream come true. But I also know that until that day comes, I have to work my regular job, and I have to, you know, just do what I can do. And so one of the first things I guess we're going to touch on here is I guess what kind of direction the channel really should go in at this point, because we're at an impasse right now where I'm not gonna say that I'm just stuck in a rut, but like I'm currently just doing retakes of elevators that I've filmed previously, which is fine, but I know that I've filmed a few new elevators that I haven't previously filmed and stuff like that too, and I did a hotel tour recently. But I do know that I did post a poll question a while back, which if you guys are part of my community, you can go in on my channel and obviously respond to that as well. And it was, do we need to rebrand the channel? Do we need to, you know, keep some things but change a few things here and there? Or do we just need to make a whole new channel and, you know, rebrand? And I guess that's kind of where I'm turning to my audience to see, like, where things, what would you guys like to see? Because obviously I don't just do these videos for my own personal gain, I do it for, you know, my viewers too. And I'd like to be able to provide content that you guys would actually enjoy to watch, so, and not just watch 10 seconds of it and click away, because, you know, YouTube keeps track of things like that too, about the duration of your video, how duration of the views of your videos and stuff like that. So excuse me for a second. So I guess that's where I'm at with that. I would like to know what you guys think, and obviously I'm all open to ideas and suggestions, so anything that you guys can think of would be super beneficial and super helpful. So Um, Next thing I guess I want to touch base on is I kind of want to talk about like where I got my start. So, which I've briefly covered this story before, but not like an in-depth. So, being a young child with Asperger's syndrome and not knowing what Asperger's syndrome was 10 or 15 years ago when I was initially diagnosed, and I'm 28 years old now. So that tells you I've only spent half of my life actually knowing what this disease is. So for my childhood, I was a very troubled, high energy kid. I got in trouble a lot at school, got sent to the principal's office a lot. Had a lot of issues regulating my emotions, which I still do sometimes, but nowhere near as bad as it was when I was younger. So, and things of that nature. Spent a lot of time in therapy. This is going to kind of skip around because my memory is really messed up when it comes to my childhood, because we're going to touch base on that here in just a second. So went to a lot of therapy, went to a lot of pediatricians, a lot of specialists, psychiatrists, behavior health, behavior specialists, stuff like that. And in this day and age, obviously it's the turn of the millennia. There are still a lot of the Ritalin and Adderall guinea pigs around, and they're still, obviously I was an Adderall guinea pig, so that was one of the first ADHD medications that I went on because I was diagnosed with ADHD and depression. So, which, not going to say that the doctor was incorrect, but I don't think, looking at the way life is, and I don't think that was the most accurate diagnosis or most accurate label we could put onto it. So fast forward till about 10 or 11. At this point I had been in the mental hospital a couple of times on the psychiatric unit, adolescent psych, at both Mountain View and Hillcrest Behavioral Health Services here in Alabama. And I don't really talk about these experiences a lot because issues with regulating and facilities like that, obviously, being a person who works in a facility like that myself, the staff's main goal is obviously to keep you and other people safe. So when you're super elevated, you're not thinking rationally, things start flying through the air, you start hitting things, etc., 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 you're going to get tackled or held down, and they're going to administer an antipsychotic to you so that you can be more regulated. And that's not to scare people away from it. A lot of people honestly really do need these medications because they are going to be a potential danger to themselves. Something they're going to do is going to harm another patient or another staff member or themselves, and sometimes it is absolutely necessary. In one of these facilities, the medications, after you receive them a certain amount of times, your body starts developing a resistance to it, so it takes more and more and more to essentially put you to, not to sleep, but to put you in a state where you're going to be more passable, if that makes sense. So, and more able to be reasoned with. And so more it takes. One of these times I ended up not being secluded because you have to have physician's orders for seclusion and stuff like that, but I was placed in a seclusion room for a timeout to, at this point I think I hit a staff member or something. I don't even remember because my memory's so funky, but like I ended up having to like get wrapped up in sheets and they took me to the seclusion room. Okay, so fast forward past that, we're going to talk about my grandmother being like, look, there's obviously something not right here. You know, he has these obsessions, he gets on these hamster wheels, you know, and it just keeps going and going and going until it spirals out of control. So fast forward to that, they refer me to the Sparks Clinic, which is a children, adolescent, pediatric behavior health specialist group here in Birmingham, Alabama. It's more like towards the Vestavia Hills neighborhood, but really great place, really great people. They are very knowledgeable on different forms of autism, and went through, you know, a couple of appointments there and finally received my diagnosis of having Asperger's syndrome. So that's kind of like where the, you know, beginnings of it. So now that we have a label for what it is, we're going to get back to the obsessiveness and the hamster wheels. Okay, so this year when I get my diagnosis, I ended up finding, you know, some YouTube videos because I got really big on YouTube. Like I was watching funny fail videos and stuff like that. You know how the internet was back in the early 2000s. I mean, it was great. It's honestly a very shameful and disgusting place that we live in now because I don't know, but we don't get very political here. So if you have your opinions on that, I have my opinions on that. That's the way I see it. So ended up watching a lot of Diesel Ducey's videos, and I ended up watching a lot of and I forget why I ran across their videos. I think I actually searched for an antique elevator to begin with because, like, I saw a picture in an encyclopedia, which, believe it or not, in my time in school, we actually still had encyclopedias. Did they get regularly used? No, but being somebody who liked to learn as much about different things as I could, I would do research on the computer, I'd do research in textbooks, I'd do research in encyclopedias. So I wanted to be an educated person when I found an interest in something because I wanted to know everything about it, you know, and pick it apart piece by piece. So it's just the intellect in me, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, I ran across Diesel Ducey's video at the Guggenheim Nursing Home in Lynchburg, Virginia, and there were a few others that I ran across too, but that was like one that specifically stuck out to me. And this was before the time he had filmed the elevator at the Rush Reese Library and stuff like that. So he had a very limited amount of Andrew had a very limited amount of antique elevator videos, and you know, this was before his channel was able to like restore the old VHS tapes that he had and all this other stuff that he's done. That's been so amazing because like he can actually talk about his history. My history has all been pretty much documented to some degree. So on YouTube anyway, my YouTube history. Let's rephrase that. So my elevator filming career has been documented. His, you know, was documented, but some of it was lost due to limitations of technology at the time. And once he was able to restore it and get it, you know, uploaded to the internet, then it was no longer lost. So he had none of those videos available. So I didn't even know he had been doing it for like as long as he had until like I read his bio on his channel. But I ran across another video. This was at the Purdue University Music Freak CC's video of that antique elevator there, and then I watched the Dover elevator video right after that, which was across the hall from it, and he did a video of that as well. So that's kind of like, and I was like, oh wow, people actually, and then I got to like looking, and I realized that there was a whole following of like people, not as big as it is now. The elevator community has grown tremendously throughout my time. It really like popped off around the time I joined. Like people started joining left and right, and but it has grown tremendously, and it's still continuing to grow. So I mean, but back then it was only a handful of people, you know, scattered throughout the country, salt and peppered here, salt and peppered over here in Sweden, salt and peppered in Europe, you know, throughout the world. And now we have like, you know, concentrated amount of users, you know, on a state by state basis, or at least, you know, close to one in almost every state, which I think is pretty cool. And we have one, you know, we have tons in Canada now, which there weren't a lot of those back when I started either. And like generally the West Coast in general, there just was not a lot of users out there. So we had, you know, people as far west as Texas and stuff like that, St. Louis, and obviously, but you get what I'm saying. It was a smaller group. So and I realized, wow, these people, you know, actually have a following, and like, yeah, it's pretty cool. So we're gonna fast forward to my grandmother. Obviously ran across me watching these videos, and she's like, why are you watching elevator videos? I was like, I think it's pretty cool, you know, like this and this, you know, and this is the machine room, this is this, you know, like, it's pretty cool. And it's like, you know, I'd kind of like to do that myself, and, you know, go up to Regional Medical Center and obviously film the elevators there, film the elevators at Jacksonville State Library, film the elevators at Jacksonville Medical Center when it was still open. And she thought it was weird, you know, kind of side-eyed me a little bit, but never was judgmental and was supportive of it. And she was my ride, being a person with no license at the time. Obviously I couldn't drive. I mean, I could ride my bike around, but who wants to, you know, ride 20 miles to go film an elevator on a bicycle and then turn around and ride 20 miles back, you know? So she was my ride and made a lot of this possible in the beginning. And then, you know, heaven rest her soul, she got very sick about 11 years ago, sorry. And, you know, was in and out of the hospital, and I went through a really stressful point in my life, and I wasn't really doing YouTube that much. And then she passed away, and then I kind of just stopped. I made videos here and there, but like, I put no real effort into it anymore. And I took my hiatus for however many years I was gone, and I don't know, I just had more users like reaching out to me after all these years. Like, I haven't posted an elevator video in a long time, and I had all these users like reaching out to me, like Nick JB, Nintendo fan, and you know, Alabama Elevators. That's another channel you should really check out, is Alabama Elevators. He's got some really good content, if I can speak. And so does Nick JB, Nintendo fan. He has pretty good content too. Some elevators that I have actually not gotten videos of, so that's something worth checking out, because he might have something that I haven't gotten yet. So, and same thing with Alabama Elevators, because he has been to our area before, but I don't think he lives locally. I think it's around Birmingham. And Nick, no, he actually lives around Huntsville, I believe, and Nick lives locally. So hopefully him and I are going to get together sometime soon. We've been kind of in the talks of it on Facebook and stuff, so I told him, it's like, I'd be really interested in meeting up with you and shooting some videos with you. So I hope soon that we're going to be able to make a collaboration happen. And I did meet with Alabama Elevators a while back. We did not get any content because I was just kind of showing them around, you know, and we just wanted to hang out, I guess, kind of get to know each other. And anyway, we didn't do any elevator videos that day, but I really kind of feel like we should have, because we haven't been able to get back together recently. So, but hopefully soon we'll be able to, because that would be pretty cool. And I'm trying to think. So I kind of got on a tangent here, so I apologize for that. But anyway, that's kind of like the story of how everything started. And you know, obviously my channel has developed into what it is now, and I'm not saying I'm not happy with it, but I feel like there could be, you know, some improvement. So I'm with you guys, I am. So like I said, I'd like to see where you guys would like to see things improve. And I'm trying to think. So I guess now we're going to talk about possible future videos. So I'm hoping to eventually go back out to the Oxford Exchange and kind of work on getting retakes out there of the hotels and stuff like that. Obviously I can't get retakes of Jacksonville Medical Center because it is no longer open. I would like to go back down to Citizens Hospital in Talladega to retake the Twinkie M, or it's a Montgomery Twinkie M or it's a Vector. I'm not sure which one it is. It's one or the other. But would like to get a retake of that one as well. And obviously I'd like to go to Birmingham and get more videos there, because I have filmed a couple of the parking garages. I did notice, because I was kind of exploring with my wife a few months back, and I did notice that the Birmingham Public Library had a really old Montgomery elevator in it, and I would like to get a video of that as well. Children's Hospital would obviously be a very great one, but it's difficult to get in and out of Children's unless you're a visitor or something. So, and it's kind of the same with UAB and St. Vincent's, honestly. So, but we'll see. I'd like to get the Otis Lexans at Gadsden Regional too, if they are still Lexan. I feel like somebody told me they got modernized, but I'm not 100% certain on that. So, we got some stuff that we're working on. I just would like to see what you guys think we could do to improve on. I like my intro. I'm not taking that away right now anyway until I get tired of it, so I hope you guys are okay with the intro and it doesn't bother you too much. I actually worked pretty hard on putting that together, so because my video editing software on my phone sucks. So me putting that together was a process, and I really like it, and I'd like to keep it for a little while. So I hope that the intro is not the problem. I know we're not exactly Shunty Buddy Productions anymore, because Shunty Buddy has vanished, and I'm very upset about that because I have no idea where he is. And I've tried to find him, I really have, but I've searched my grandmother's house, which has been sold now, so I can't go back and search now, obviously. And I've searched everywhere I can possibly think of that. And I'm assuming I've moved at some point and he did not make it into the move. So unfortunately, collateral damage, casualties of war, whatever you want to call it, but it's very upsetting and I'm sad about it. So let's try not to dwell too much on that. And trying to think. yeah, I'm hoping soon that obviously we'll get more, content out here soon. So I guess for now, um, I'm gonna quit keeping everybody. Um, yeah, I can't think of anything I'd really like to add to this video other than, um, I really appreciate everybody. I really appreciate your support. Those of you who have been here from the channel's heyday, everyone who has subscribed to me, everyone who has, kept me going all this time. I really appreciate you guys, because YouTube was there for me in a lot of dark times, and, I really don't feel like I talk about that enough in a lot of my update videos. And, somebody who struggles with issues on day-to-day life, and, battles with the, unfortunate side effects that comes with, being a unique neurodivergent individual. I've dealt with some hard times and been in some really bad places that I never thought I would crawl out of, but there was always, some form of light there. I would watch a Diesel Doocy video, or I'd go film an elevator, and it would make me feel better. So, and that's another thing too, is this is a very big thing to people in the autism community. Fire alarms, elevators, toilets, sirens. And people might think it's a little odd, and I will have to agree, it is. It is strange, but compared to, as a mental health professional, someone who works in the mental health field, and the things that I do see from a first-hand basis, I will say that there are worse things out there than elevator photography or somebody filming a toilet flushing, than, that they could be doing, and they're not. They're choosing to explore their creative interests and do what makes them happy. And I think that's a very big movement. I'm very happy that we have someone as awesome as Andrew, and as, as loud of a voice as Andrew has, to advocate for the elevator community, because without it, living in the post 9/11 era, things obviously weren't always easy for us, and still aren't to this day. I mean, we still have videos of people getting kicked out by security left and right and harassed, and for someone who does not like conflict like myself, that can be a very, very unnerving, disorienting situation, getting intimidated by police and, security and things of that nature. So, a video that comes to mind all the time when I think of that is Andrew getting harassed by the police in Roanoke, and I really feel like he handled that situation the best way, he could have, because it was had I been in a situation like that, I would have probably panicked and freaked out. So he handled that, I feel like, very well. I know there's people who will comment on there like, oh, you never stop recording, or you don't give up your rights. And I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you, but when you're in the heat of the moment in a situation like that, you're not always thinking rationally. So he probably set his camera down out of compliance and was just like, okay, fine. He left it recording though, so you could still hear the audio. But anyway, that's just one of those videos that really come to mind when I think about how disgusting of a time period that we live in. And now that, it seems like obviously there are other issues in the world now that are bigger problem. I'm not going to say bigger problems, because it's not the correct way, but there are other issues in the world now, and things might get more difficult as time goes on for the elevator community. So having someone with as big of a voice as Andrew and as big of a following as Andrew as an advocate for the elevator community is a really good thing. So that's about all I have to really say about that, I guess. I know that was kind of a random tangent, but felt like I needed to add that in somewhere because it was kind of on the topic list but it's in my head, so I don't have a list here. But anyway, that's another thing too. None of my videos are scripted. They are all just raw, unfiltered, you know, things I got to talk about and things that are going through my head. So, I hope everybody has enjoyed their day, and like I said, you know, I think this is a very amazing thing, and I always have, and the more time progresses and the more we all each grow and develop, it really just makes me so happy to see that, you know, we've come as far as we have. You know, now I can get in an elevator and film a video and people will actually know why I'm doing it sometimes now, which is crazy to me because years ago I'd just get pointed at and laughed at and I hated it so much. That's why I stopped. Like, so the fact that people actually know what we're doing and are aware and it doesn't bother them kind of just really makes me happy now that things are like that, and I hope it will continue to be that way, you know, because obviously in the disgusting world that we're living in right now with everything that's going on, things could get difficult, you know. So, but we'll always rise above it because we have each other, and that's one thing I want everybody to remember is no matter what, even if we have different opinions, like, we have each other, and we will stand together and continue to film elevators and provide content for the people that we choose to provide it for, which are the ones who enjoy it. And that's where I am with my channel anyway, and I hope you guys will help me, obviously give me feedback on where I should improve. I'm not stopping elevator filming. I'm going to go ahead and say that right now. So if those of you who commented that we should rebrand the channel entirely, I'm going to go ahead and first and foremost inform you that elevator photography is the basis that this channel was founded on, and it will continue to stay that way. So if you have an issue with that, then you obviously are free to choose another channel to subscribe to. And I'm not saying that to be ugly, I'm just saying that's your right as the viewer. So not that I think anybody would try to tell me to change that. I just wanted to, you know, clear the water there. To some people, my videos may seem pointless, but to others, they really enjoy them. So I'm going to, I guess, leave you guys on that note, and I will see you guys on the next video. Until then, I hope everybody has a great week. I hope everybody has a great day, and keep on filming.